Hello and welcome! Silrace here with World of Warcraft. Now I want to talk a little bit here about the Mage Fire Spec Mastery in Shadowlands. Because it has just been changed in a recent patch to Shadowlands testing phase, and I'm hoping that they keep it this way. As opposed to what it was when, Shadowlands class changes were first essentially revealed. Because that was problematic to me, and it seems it was problematic to many others as well. I gave feedback on that. I haven't made a video of it actually, I just completely forgot to make a video of it. I probably should have. Anyway, let's talk about what it is now and what it used to be and why I thought it was massively problematic. So, basically, when it first came out, when the class changes were pushed out, it was simply said that the Ignite Mastery for Fire Spec mages would be dealing damage around the target when essentially fire spells would splash around the target for area effect damage. Now this obviously seems, on paper, this seems really good because it's just straight up cleave, right? You just cleave packs down. However, my issues with this, if you think on it a little bit, you start seeing problems. First hurdle is PvP, because suddenly you can't play Fire Spec in arenas, because you might have to crowd control targets. You have a polymorph yourself as a mage, your partners may have different crowd controls which break on damage. So you can't, polymorph somebody and then deal damage to something else which would break the polymorph. And if you are about to say that, well, just polymorph a distant target, what is to stop the target you want to actually nuke from walking right next to the crowd control target, knowing that the next fireball landing would break that crowd control? So that was the first issue. And the next issue is actually PvE related, because of that same crowd control breaking thing. I honestly think that the problem, granted, we are very used to cleaving through packs and so on without crowd control. Without much of crowd control needed anywhere. You just cleave through with full AoE and you're done. However, if Blizzard ever wants to again make any encounters where you are supposed to crowd control anything, then you can't play fire again. Because whether that crowd control is Shackle Undead or Polymorph or Freezing Trap, whatever, some sort of a crowd control that breaks on damage, you can't use that in encounter design, or then you need to drop fire mages out of the equation entirely. And if you want to keep fire mages playable in encounters, you can't then design encounters like that. So, from my point of view, the fact that they changed it into such a fashion that Phoenix Flames is now, because it's now a baseline ability and it is now the actual catalyst that triggers the splashing effect, the cleave effect from the mastery, the Ignite Mastery for Fire Mages. It is now controllable cleave, which means that all of those crowd control effects are no longer a problem, because it's actually up to the player to decide when I want to essentially activate, in quotation marks, my fire AoE cleave by using certain ability to then essentially activate the cleave and deal the cleave. And it doesn't just automatically passively cleave. So I love this change from the point of view that it gives control to the player, because now the player has to actually make the decision instead of it just passively automatically happening. But also because this allows PvE, encounter design into such a fashion that, well, we can now design encounter if we want to, where you can crowd control and you can still bring a fire mage. or where you need to crowd control, and can still bring a fire mage to actually play the encounter. And obviously PvP, where crowd control is a big deal, needs to happen in most encounters, most matchups. This is a necessity to make fire mages work in PvP, obviously. Thank you very much for listening. Hopefully this was, you know, eye-opening to somebody who hadn't actually thought of that, who hasn't played Fire Mage, and might have not, you know, thought this far by just looking at the changes themselves. Anyway, very good by Blizzard to actually make these changes, and hopefully they stay as they are with, you know, necessary tweaks to numbers and whatnot if needed. As said, thank you very much for listening.